All right, we are live. Look at that. Give everybody a few minutes here while I attempt to fix my last minute camera change here. Inevitably, if something can go wrong, it's going to go wrong. And it's going to go wrong right as you go to start. As usual. I mean, that's how it goes. Just expect it. All right, Joe. So Joe, since you're watching here, I go to start everything and camera live stops working, and I restarted and it's still not working, and I gave up. Last minute, now I'm on my phone, joined as another person. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great night. All right. Where'd my mouse go? There it is. It's Joe. All right. Let me know when you guys are here. Obviously, I can't tell who's here unless you comment. Then I can see who's here. Michael. How's it going, Michael? William. I imagine Michael, William, Angela. You guys are all there. Cara is asking me when it is. Hang on. We're on right now, Cara. Aaron Taylor, you made it. There's Cara. Aaron, nice of you to join us. How's everybody's quarantine going? I have this stripe right there. That is crazy. I also have like a picture that I tried to put over the window. It's craziness. Cara, you don't get to know the game yet. That's the whole point, is I don't tell you what the game is until it's time. But it's going to be good as long as it works. But you don't have to text in for the game. You will, however, have to volunteer and click a link and jump in, because that's what makes it fun and that's what makes it awesome. Cara, it is not boring. It's not boring. It's not boring. Don't say that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the comments. And if anybody wants to jump in for these first couple minutes and say hello and try it out, you are welcome to go ahead and jump in. All you have to do is click the link, and it'll take you to another page, and then you put your name in and you push join, and then you're here. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that down in the comments for you guys. And if anybody wants to jump in and say hello, that is awesome, because then I don't have to spend a bunch of time just filling time until it's time. It's a lot of times to say the word time in a row. Once again, we have the same problem as the first week, is I don't have my phone, because now my phone's the camera again. I have a second phone that was supposed to be the camera, and then I can't get it to turn on now. Like I said, if it's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong right now. Yeah. It's not the game quarantine, I promise. Wait, you're on a bike ride right now?
Yeah, all right.
Michael.
William!
Yo, what's up?
Not much. How's it going?
I am good. Yo.
Doing good. I gotta turn the volume down on my phone. That's good. How's it going? There we go. I can hear you now. How's homeschooling going?
Oh, and you said you need the story as well. The story as well. What? Oh, it's
How's homeschooling going?
It's good. It's not hard. Kids so confusing. Wait. Yeah. Oh, wait. Go ahead, buddy. Yeah.
Oh, Kara, I see what you mean now. Okay. Yes, quarantine is really boring at times. I actually picked up stuff to plant in the garden that I don't have, simply because I was like, got some time. Gardening sounds fun. I'll buy some plants. Because I was like, got some time. Joe says it's delayed.
Yeah, I just started Lily.
Is there a delay? How bad is it?
Yeah. 2
Joe
seconds.
says it's delayed.
A couple
Well,
seconds.
Hopefully, it kind of works its way out.
And how are you?
Car asked, "How's Angela?"
You're cute, Penny. You're cool.
Car asked, "How's here real time?" I think.
Wait, what did you do?
You can't see anything in there. Sit. No.
They said she's fine. Yes. They said she's fine. Oh, that is delayed. I can tell. That's okay. We're going to roll with it. It's going to be good. I'm going to give my camera one last shot. That's okay. We're going to roll with it. It's going to be good. Hang on. My camera one last shot. Nope. It says no. It just keeps saying error, so I give up. Wow, that line's getting closer to my head. Gage, are you here yet? Because you need to say something about the reflection off my head. Closer to my head. Gage, are you here yet? Because you need to say something about the reflection off my head. That's really funny. There is totally an echo as it goes through to William, then back in. That's really funny. Yes, it's odd. Through William, then back in. There it is. All right. We are going to go ahead and get started. William, I'm going to pull you out for a second.
All right.
And then, well, no, I guess you could stay here. I'm going to mute you for a minute so the echo stops. And then I'm going to explain the game. Okay. Hopefully the echo has stopped at this point. I really hope. You guys can let me know. All right. So it's game time. I need at least one more volunteer to click the link in the description, in the comments, and jump in for a super awesome game. It's going to be completely different than any of the other games that we've done. So you have no idea what to expect. But maybe there might be a prize coming to your house if you win. You never know. So I need one person to click the link and jump in. Hey, William. Do you have headphones you can put on with a microphone?
No.
No? Okay. Never mind.
Wait, I think we do. I'll check.
If you do, that makes it better. But if not, we're going to roll with it.
No, we can't because that's case is covering the jack.
But if not,
Your case is covering the headphone jack. It should be
There
like
is no headphone jack.
There's none? Oh, why didn't you tell me that?
I did not watch William's video on Facebook. I didn't know there was one. I will watch it, though. Taylor, where are you? I need you to play this game. Watch it, though.
It's radio.
Taylor, where are you? There's that echo.
Or I'm away from it, so I can't hear the echo.
Angela, or not Angela, sorry. Once again, looking at those names. Angel says hi to everybody.
Ooh, Ben.
It does. I feel like sometimes It is radioactive, and it just doesn't work.
What are you doing?
All right, we need one more person. Is anybody brave enough to jump on? Come on. Kara, come on. Where's Drew? Oh, here's Kara. And Taylor, what happened? Oh, there you are. Hang on. There's Taylor. Oh, we let Taylor.
It isn't showing anything for us. Like it's just a blank spot.
All right, give me one. William, you're going to hold down the fort while I get a charger from my phone. Hang on.
Ew, I know what happened. I'm going outside. For what? I'm on the live.
All right, Kara, can you hear us? All right, Kara, can you hear us?
Oh my gosh.
Can you hear? Maybe. Can you hear what's going on?
Maybe our connection's bad.
It might be. Taylor, what happened to you?
Well, it does look like she's outside, so it could be a connection's bad.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, she left.
Oh. Taylor said it's her Wi-Fi.
Mm.
Oh. Taylor said it's her Wi-Fi. Aaron, you should jump in and play. We need one more person. Aaron, you should jump in and play.
Yeah.
We need one more person. I will definitely check it out.
William, a code's going to come across the phone that does. I need to know what it is.
All right.
I will definitely check it out.
What's the code?
There's one right now.
Yeah, what is it?
There is one. Oh, it's
25 what? 258.
258146.
Taylor, you made it. You're coming through pretty clear too. All right.
Oi.
William, is is your sister or somebody jumping in? All right.
What are you doing? Cleaning. Oh.
William is all right. Are you guys ready? All right.
They were trying, but it starts.
All right. Are you guys ready? Taylor, can you hear?
Not really.
Not really.
What?
William, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thankfully, you don't really have to hear me. All right, we're going to try this game, and we're going to see how it goes. All right, this game is called Snap Challenge. And give me a second. All right, so this is how it's going to work. You're each going to guess. I will write down basically your points. There's 10 of them. We lost Taylor again. All right, William, since you're on here and you have a good internet connection, we're going to play because I don't know the answers. All right, William. I got to grab a pen.
I'm going over here where I can actually hear you a little bit more better.
And now we lost William. We may not have a game this week. Oh, wait. William's coming back. There we go. Let's pull you back in.
Sorry.
All right. It's okay. All right. So we're going to play against each other. So we're going to show a picture, and then it's going to ask a question about that picture. And if you get it right, you get a point. And if you don't get a point. Simple as that. All right. You ready for the first one?
Yep.
Okay. All right. What color was the flower in his hair?
Well, not
Use
sure.
multiple choice. I'm going with. I'll write mine down. And then you can say yours.
Blue.
I'm going with yellow. It was blue. That's 1 point for you. All right, here we go. How many punctuation marks were used?
One.
I'm going with 0. 2.
Oh,
So neither one of us get anything. All right. Oh, there's a comma and a period. All right, next one. How many colors did she draw with?
7.
5. 6. Neither one of us get it. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess it is 6.
Yeah.
All right. You ready?
Yep.
How many minion hairs were visible?
8.
6. 8. I got to get at least 1.
4 on each head.
I see. Hang on 1 second. Kara, it may be too delayed to play over Messenger. How many of his ears were showing?
1.
1. Yes, we both get a point. That's my first point. What color was Bay's watch?
Gold.
Going gold. What'd you say?
Gold.
I think we're both right. Yes. That was an easy one. Which gang member had a bow in her hair?
Red.
Bull. I
Red.
thought it was blonde. It is red. Yeah, it was red. What was the area code in the phone number on the wall? I don't know. I'm going with C, 569.
Yeah, I go for a C.
You go for C?
Yeah.
We're both wrong. All right, two more. I can't even read that. All right. How many seconds were left?
What? 5.
2?
I'm going 5. 8.
8. We're both wrong. Oh, who's jumping in now? Somebody's jumping in. Hang on. I'll pull him in. No, somebody's jumping in now. Hang on. You say hi,
Oh, it's my brother.
everybody? Hang on. You say hi, everybody?
Hello.
Are you ready for the last one?
Oh,
Here we go.
Run around. Well, you cannot hide from me.
Where was the girl's mole? Go with shoulder.
Forehead.
Forehead. Michael, you got a guess?
Forehead. Forehead.
Mouth. We're both.
Oh,
we're all three of us are wrong. All right, William, you ended up with 5 points, and I only ended up with 2. So, William, you win. You won against me, the guy that playing the game. And I didn't know the questions, so I was really trying.
Let's go back to the echo.
All right.
Around.
You guys can go ahead and say goodbye or to everybody. And we're going to move on to the next thing, all right?
Yeah.
All right, see you guys. Echo's still really bad. Yes, William does totally rock. Jaden, you missed it. How's the echo now? The light is totally in my face now. Is it better? Okay, that's good. Yeah, it may be a little staticky because everything's going through my phone. So it's hopefully it gets better. I hope. It obviously has not been my day with technology. All right, so we're kind of changing things up, and we are going to talk about something new. If you saw Facebook at all, you should have seen the kind of the new thing we're going to talk about. Last week, I mentioned that we may do one more week of Would You Rather. We may switch to something else, and I decided not to do one more week, and I had another series that I wanted to talk about called Stronger, and talking about how we can ultimately be stronger in our circumstances because of our relationship with God through Jesus. And that's what I want to talk about tonight. Yes, Taylor, you live and learn. I know. I feel like I keep living and I just keep learning, but I don't get anywhere. Sorry, I'm still reading comments here, trying to keep up. Jade, I tried to like tell you what we're doing. Sorry. I try to keep up. All right. How many of you guys have ever seen the show Wipeout? Have you ever seen that show? If you have not, we're going to watch a clip of it where really brave, crazy people. Sorry, I saw William pop back up for a second. Brave, crazy people that come out and they compete on this TV show for $50,000 to get injured and embarrassed in different ways on TV, and it's crazy. Here is a clip for you guys.
Oh! Heroes really have a love-hate
So if
relationship.
anybody's not familiar with it,
I like to say this.
hopefully you can be a little familiar with it now
So many other dads
and how crazy it is.
say not as I do philosophy. Ha ha! Oh! You know why I love this obstacle? Why is that? Because it's a family of 4 spinning pitchforks that doesn't show paper. Like take Philadelphia native Tom and Colleen Campbell, for example. It treats father just like
I mean,
daughter.
just imagine how that feels. It's gonna be horrible.
They both get spanked. I can't stop talking about it now. Well, you have to, Johnny, because our next contestant or competitor go. Oh, this is. She'll offer you a homemade pie, Rosenberry, munchkin, and banana. Downright.
All right. That's it for that. Keep watching that and keep watching that, and all of these people doing all these crazy things. And while a lot of us have seen that, I don't think any of us have ever competed in that show and ever done anything quite like that and maybe embarrassed ourselves to that point. But there's a lot of us, I think, that maybe have been injured at some point in time or been embarrassed. And if we were in the regular youth group right this second, this would be the moment in time where everybody starts telling stories about how they've been injured at some point in time, or Drew would tell a crazy story, or Gage would tell a crazy story about something that happened to them. And we've all gone through things like that. And I remember one time debating when I was going to tell that story. One time, some of you guys remember Steven, the guy that I talk about that I grew up with in youth group. And we used to go down to West Virginia every year, and we would ride dirt bikes, and we would go hiking and all this other crazy stuff in West Virginia. And yes, I love watching Wipeout too. And sometimes it reminds me of my life. That's how I feel with technology. Technology, Wipeout, like those two things, if they could go together, that would be my life online here recently. We would go to West Virginia and we would ride dirt bikes, and I've been riding dirt bikes most of my life. And there was like this little kind of ramp area, and we would kind of go up over that. And this friend of mine named Steven that I was in youth group with was a little crazy. And he kept telling me to go faster up this little thing. And I did. I finally was like, fine, I'll show you that I can go faster. And I did. And it didn't end well. It ended super bad because it was on gravel and I hit the gravel and it didn't work out well. And it was embarrassing. It hurts. And it didn't work out well. And we've all experienced times when maybe we've hurt physically or we've been embarrassed. But there's been times when we've experienced real painful hurts or real painful loss. And I think a lot of us in this moment, maybe that thing that you're thinking about right now as I talk about real pain and real loss, we've all gone through times like that. And failure and loss and pain and emotional damage is unavoidable in life a lot of times. If you haven't already experienced this, there'll be a day when you encounter hard times, unfortunate circumstances, and it's going to come. And I don't say that to scare you or to make you think that the future is going to be horrible, but it's going to happen. If it hasn't happened already, you experience things that you don't want to experience. It could be a failed grade. It could be that you don't make a certain team. It could be because you lose friends because you said something or you did something, or maybe you get your phone taken away by your parents and you think that's the end of it all. Angel tells a story. Her first competition, she got a rear chokehold. She was super embarrassed and it left her breathless. And I think we can all kind of identify with times like that. And if you can't, then eventually you will. It'll happen. Sometimes things happen to us that it's not even our fault, but it happens anyways. Somebody that we love, maybe they die. Maybe somebody gets sick or injured that we don't expect. Maybe you have to move away from your friends. Maybe something traumatic happens. We go through things in life, whether they're our fault or whether they're not, that happen to us that are either embarrassing or they're painful or they hurt us emotionally. These things happen in our life, and a lot of times we can't do anything about it. They just happen. Sometimes life goes wrong and it does not go your own way. So for the next couple of weeks, we're going to talk about when life starts to hurt and when we maybe struggle to find joy in our circumstances. We're going to talk about how we can find joy and how ultimately God can use that in our life to make us stronger, to help other people, and to truly make a difference. It ultimately makes our faith stronger. It shows us that God is stronger. And that's what we're going to talk about for the next couple weeks. My iPad is frozen. Like I said, yeah, sometimes life just happens. That's what's happening right now. Life is just happening. Do. There we go. So to kind of kick all this off, going back in the beginning in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, because ultimately before we talk about where everything went wrong, we're going to talk about where everything was right and everything was good, everything's perfect. And that's back in the book of Genesis in chapter 1. In the very end of chapter 1, after God creates everything, he says, he looks at it all and he says, it's good. Everything that I've made, everything that I've done is good. And that was in chapter 1 of the Bible, the end of chapter 1. And then you jump forward 2 chapters later, in chapter 3. And this is when Adam and Eve, the first 2 people that were created, they go against what God said. They choose not to trust God. And instead, to take knowledge for themselves and try to make their own decisions and their own choices. And that's when everything does not go well. That's when things go wrong. And that's when sin ultimately comes into the picture. Sin created consequences that we can't escape. We carry the effects of sin in our own heart and in our own lives and in the world that we live. Because of sin, we ultimately make choices that we're not proud of. It's difficult to do what's good. It's difficult to do what's right. It's easy to do what's destructive to other people. Our relationship with God is ultimately strained or even severed if you're not a follower. It's severed. The world we live in is ultimately broken because of sin. And as long as we live on this earth in these bodies, there will be failure, there will be pain, there will be loss, all the way back from Genesis chapter 3. And although failure and pain and loss are unavoidable because of sin, and that's the result of it, that's not the end of the story. That's not where the Bible doesn't just stop at the end of Genesis chapter 3 saying, okay, sin is now in the world's really messed up, and people are really messed up, and that's the end of it. No, the story continues on. And that's where Jesus comes in the picture. That's where the gospel comes in the picture. And I'll show you guys this video, and maybe some of you will enjoy it. Maybe some of you will take this to heart, ultimately talking about the gospel. And then we're going to open up to one of my favorite verses, a verse I was going to share the other night on Facebook Live, but then I didn't. And we're going to talk about it tonight. So let me pull it up. Something for you guys to enjoy. Oh, hang on. Once again, technical difficulties. Share audio. Share. Hey, Eric.
The full story of life crushed into 4 minutes. The entirety of humanity in the palm of your hand, crushed into one sentence. Listen, it's intense, right? God, our sin, paying everyone life. The greatest story ever told that's hardly ever told. God. Yes, God, the maker and giver of life. And by life, I mean any and all manner and substance, seen and unseen, what can and can't be touched, thoughts, image, emotions, love, atoms, and oceans, God. All of it is handiwork, one of which is masterpiece, made so uniquely that angels look curiously. The one thing in creation that was made with his imagery, the concept so cold. It's the reason I stay bold, how God breathed in a man and he became a living soul. Formed with the intent of being infinitely, intimately fond. Creator and creation held an eternal bond. And it was placed in perfect paradise till something went wrong. A species got deceived and started lusting for his job, an odd list of complaints, as if the system ain't working. And used that same breath he graciously gave us to curse him. And that sin seed spread through our soul's genome. And by nature of your nature, your species, you participated in the mutiny, yes, our sins. It's nature inherited, black in the human heart. It was over before it started. Deceived from day one and led away by our own lust. There's not a religion in the world that doesn't agree that something's wrong with us. The question is, what is it? And how do we fix it? Are we eternally separated from a God that may or may not have existed? But that's another subject. Let's keep grinding. Besides trying to prove God is like defending a lion, homie. It don't need your help. Just unlock the cage. Let's move on how our debt can be paid. Short and sweet. The problem is sin. Yes, sin. It's a cancer, an asthma, choking out our life force, forcing separation from a perfect and holy God. And the only way to get back is to get back to perfection, but silly us. Trying to pass the course of life without referring to a syllabus. This is us. Heap up your good deeds. Chant, pray, meditate. Well, all of that, of course, is spraying cologne on a corpse. Or you could choose to ignore it as if something don't stink. It's like stepping in dog poop and refusing to wipe your shoe, but all of that ends with how good is good enough. Take your silly list of good deeds and line them up against perfection. Good luck. That's life past your pay grade. The cost of your soul, you ain't got a big enough piggy bank, but you could give it a shot. But I suggest you throw away the list, because even your good acts are an extension of your selfishness. But here's where it gets interesting. I hope you're closely listening. Please don't get it twisted. It's what makes our faith unique. Here's what God says as part A of the gospel. You can't fix yourself. Quit trying. It's impossible. Sin brings death. Give God his breath back. You owe him. Eternally separated. And the only way to fix it is someone die in your place. And that someone got to be perfect, or the payment ain't permanent. So if and when you find a perfect person, get him or her to willingly trade their perfection for your sin and death in. Clearly, since the only one that can meet God's criteria is God, God sent himself as Jesus to pay the cost for us. His righteousness, his death, functions as payment. Yes, payment. Wrote a check with his life, but at the resurrection, we all cheered because that means the check cleared. Pierced feet, pierced hands, blood-stained son of man, fullness, forgiveness, free passage into the promised land. That same breath that God breathed into us, God gave up to redeem us. And anyone and everyone, and by everyone, I mean everyone, who puts their faith and trust in him and him alone can stand in full confidence of God's forgiveness. And here's what the promise is, that you are guaranteed full access to return to perfect unity by simply believing in Christ and Christ alone. You are receiving life. Yes, life. This is the gospel. God, our sins, paying everyone life.
Ultimately, sin has caused a lot of pain and a lot of hurt. It's ultimately caused a separation from God. Not only that, as we go through life and as we make mistakes in relationships in different areas of our life, as failures happen and as life goes wrong, it doesn't go how we planned. It's all a result of sin. Jesus ultimately redeems and takes back what has gone wrong. That means he turns wrongs into right. He exchanges evil for good. He takes back control. He breathes life into what was dead. Ultimately, you and I, in the book of Ephesians, he ultimately breathes life back into you and I so that we can live a life that's more abundant and so much better than what we could have ever hoped for. He makes old things new. All this is ultimately because of Jesus. We experience pain because of our own sins and mistakes. And Jesus says, I can redeem you. You're never too far gone to be rescued. And I've done everything to redeem you. That's what the gospel is. If you have your Bibles in the book of Colossians chapter 1. Colossians chapter 1, this is a verse that as a Christ follower, I would encourage you to... Thanks. I think I can sit on top of that. Hopefully, send some hot over there for him for a second later. As a Christ follower, this is a verse I would encourage you to mark, to underline, to look at, to remember, to memorize. In the book of Colossians chapter 1, in verse 13 and 14, it says this. It says, He has delivered us from the dominion of darkness. So ultimately, he's delivered us from this kingdom and this rule of darkness and of sin and of a place where there's a lot of mistakes and mess ups and separation from him. He's redeemed us from that dominion, from that kingdom, and transferred us to the kingdom of his beloved Son, ultimately talking about Jesus's kingdom, his family. So he's taken us out of this one that's horrible and that's everything that we don't want, our failures, our mistakes, our mess ups. He's taken us out of that one and he's put us into his kingdom, into Jesus's kingdom and Jesus's family. It says, of his beloved Son, in verse 14, in whom we have redemption for the forgiveness of sins, where ultimately he can take all of our wrongdoing upon himself. He can pay for it to ultimately give us forgiveness. I wrote actually, and I think every one of my Bibles next to this verse, it's written, I need a hero. That no matter how good I try, no matter how much good I try and do, life is still going to go wrong. And I'm still going to make mistakes and things still aren't going to go my way. And I'm still always and forever, no matter how spiritual I ever think I become, I still always will and always do need a hero. Somebody to rescue me from myself, somebody to rescue me from my failures and from my mistakes and from sin. And that person's name is Jesus. Jesus can ultimately redeem you, and he can take those failures and those mistakes and everything wrong, all the pain of every situation. He can take all that and redeem all of it. If you go on in this passage and you continue to read, it talks about the God, the firstborn of all creation, for by him everything was created. It says he's the head of the body of the church, the beginning of the firstborn. For in him all the fullness of God was pleased to dwell, and through him, through Jesus, to reconcile or to make right to himself all things, whether on earth or in heaven, making peace by the blood of the cross. Ultimately, God is able to, through Jesus, take all of these mistakes and all these failures and everything that ultimately goes against God. He's able to take all of that and to redeem it all and to make it all right, ultimately because of Jesus. That's it. That because of Jesus, he can take everything and make everything right, including the pain and the mistakes and the failure that you might find yourself in when things don't go your way. God is able to take all of that if you let him through Jesus and to make something good out of it. Jesus can ultimately redeem everything that's gone wrong. Ultimately, not just everything that's gone wrong, but Jesus can ultimately redeem you. When we're in the middle of our pain and in the middle of our hurt, how can Jesus help me in the middle of this relationship problem I'm having, or in the middle of this family problem I'm having, or in the middle of this school problem, or emotional problem, or mental problem? How can Jesus help me? Before you get to the problem, you ultimately have to talk about you. Jesus came to redeem you and me from darkness and death. If you've never decided to follow Jesus and to let him transform you from the inside out, today's a great day to do that. But also, it starts there. It starts with your life and then your situation. So much of our pain and hurt is caused by our own sin, our own wrongdoing. If we want true, real transformation, we need Jesus to redeem us before we ask him to redeem our situation. It's got to go in a certain order. And Jesus ultimately came to redeem you. And through his redemption of you and through your relationship with him, he could ultimately take your situation and make something truly amazing out of it through your relationship with him. But if your relationship with him has never started, then you got to start there. Jesus ultimately comes to redeem us. He can redeem painful situations. He can turn great losses into great victories, but transformation doesn't just happen. It usually requires our own participation in what's going on in that relationship with God through Jesus. It requires us to participate in that relationship. So I have, hopefully we can see it. I've got a couple cups and I've got some stuff in these cups. Let me move this over because everything changed here. I'm going to move you guys down. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, I got 3 cups here. 3 different things in them. Go back this way. There we go. In this one, there's a carrot. Carrots are great. They're full of fiber, about 50% fiber. Great for you. I have an egg in this one. These are liquid chickens in the shell. There's an egg in this one. And then this one is my favorite thing in almost all the world, and that's coffee. 3 different things all inside of these cups. And then I have hot water. This is boiling water that I'm really hoping I didn't mess my desk up by putting it on top of this piece of glass. I don't think I did. When you add, we're going to take the same thing. We're going to take the same thing, hot water. And sometimes in your life, you find yourself in situations that are kind of like hot water and you don't want in them and you don't know what to do with them. We're going to add to these 3 things. They're all very different. And they're all going to react really different. They're all going to react really different. When you add hot water to a carrot, what is going to happen to this carrot is this carrot is actually going to slowly get soft and mushy and kind of ooze out everywhere. The longer that you leave it in there, the longer you boil a carrot, the more color it loses, the more nutrients it actually loses. And it eventually becomes kind of like mush and this weird color, and it actually loses flavor if you boil it too long. A lot of the good things within a carrot, you will lose. You will lose when you boil it too long. And if you leave that sit in hot water for a long time, it's not going to be great. Sometimes in life, that's what happens to us. When we get in tough situations, we fall apart. We fall apart and we don't know what to do. And sometimes maybe the best qualities of ourselves we lose in those times. And that's not what God designed. He did not design us to lose our best qualities when we are ultimately in hot water in our own life. That's not what he designed. But sometimes that's what happens. And ultimately that happens because we're not spending time in his presence, or maybe we don't have a relationship with him. We're not giving him our situation to redeem because we're so confident we can fix it. Or maybe we're afraid to see what he's going to do with it. The next one, I think many of you can guess what happens when you add hot boiling water to an egg. And you leave this in here for about 12 minutes. It's going to be hard. And if you leave it in there even longer, it's going to be hard as a rock. And it's going to be completely different. It's going to be dry if you hard boil an egg too long. The yolk is going to be all dry and nasty. And sometimes what happens to us when the same life-altering situation or failure happens in our life that we didn't plan, you move on to this. Sometimes we get hard and we get bitter. And we completely change. It's really hard to mold something that's like a rock. It doesn't change. It's not affected by anything. I can take this egg. This egg will no longer break. I can take it and I can smash it on the ground, and it's not going to be the same. And sometimes when we go through hot water in life, we almost pull together and we become hard. We don't fall apart. We become the opposite. That's not okay either. That's not what God designed. Ultimately, this is what God designed. This last one's my favorite thing in the world is coffee. These are freshly ground from Restoration Coffee Shop. I try not to waste too many. When you add hot water to coffee, you know what happens? Coffee grounds. Ultimately, you add hot water to coffee grounds. And what it does is it brings out the best qualities of what is inside. When you add hot water, the same thing that you added to these two, you add that to this, and it brings out the best qualities of what's inside. The best qualities. That is what God designed for us. God designed that when we go through things in life that are not what we planned, are not what we expected, when life goes wrong, so to say, God ultimately wants to take that and use that for our good, to bring out the best qualities within us through our relationship with him. Because he's able to take all of those things that happen if we trust him, if we let him, if we give it to him, if we have a relationship with him and we follow him and we give that over to him, he's able to take that and he's able to make something wonderful out of it, ultimately bringing out the best qualities within us. You say, how do you know that? Because God designed you. God created you. God knows the best qualities within you. And God is the creator and the designer of us and of you, ultimately knows what it's going to take in your life to bring out the best qualities in you. But sometimes we don't want to trust God and we don't want to let God bring out the best qualities in us because we refuse to trust him in those situations. So we either become soft and mushy and we lose some of the best qualities of ourselves, or we become hard, like this hard-boiled egg, and we're no longer the same person and we refuse to change from this point forward. God says, no, I want you to trust me, and I want the ability in your life to bring out the best qualities. No matter what kind of hot water you find yourself in, you need to be willing to invite God into that process. You say, what does that look like? What does it look like to invite God into that process in my life? I almost don't think that I need to answer that question because I think everybody within here really knows what that looks like. It's you as a person spending time in a relationship with God through prayer and through meditation and through journaling and through reading what God says in his word. Those are all so easy to do, especially right now. Those are so easy to do. Yet we're so busy complaining about our present circumstances and about how life has gone wrong for us and how maybe the virus has completely ruined what we thought our high school year in 2020 was going to be, that we don't want to invite God in the process. We don't want to say, God, what are you going to do with this time? And how are you going to change me? How are you going to bring out the best qualities within me because you made me and you designed me? We don't want to do that. We want to sit and we want to complain and we want to be like the carrot and we want to be like that egg. But that's not what God wants. Ultimately, Jesus can redeem what's gone wrong and he can redeem all of that. And he can ultimately bring out the best within us, ultimately for our good and for his glory, if we let it. So guys, my challenge to you, here's where the rubber meets the road and what you have to do. The challenge for you is that you would take time to spend time with God intentionally. It's not going to happen by accident. You're as close to God as you want to be and as you choose to be, that you intentionally take the time to spend time with him, to pray, to talk to him, to read his word, to spend some time journaling and meditating on what he says. That's a choice. And that choice will ultimately determine which three of these you will end up being as life goes wrong and as life does not go how you planned. Guys, I give these challenges to you and challenges in the videos for you because it's important. Because it's super, super, super important. And if you don't see how important it is now, 10 years from now, when life gets real, you'll realize how important God is and how important your relationship with God is. But it's so much more important that you realize that now and that you begin to make those changes now. Because ultimately, this is what's going to make the difference in your life on which three of these you're going to end up when you're 25 or when you're 30. So that's the challenge, that you set aside some time and you say, God, what are you doing with me in this situation? God, what is my relationship with you like? Maybe, do I even have a relationship with you? Have I ever chosen to follow you? That's where the rubber meets the road, and that's the challenge for you guys this week. So we're going to pray, and I'm going to look through the comments, and feel free to comment anything else that you want, and maybe we'll talk about it. And yeah, let's pray. God, I thank you for you. God, I thank you that you are our hero. That you sent your son Jesus to redeem us, to take us out of this dominion and this kingdom of darkness, and to take us out of that, and ultimately to put us in your kingdom, and to redeem and take everything that was wrong and to make it right as we trust you and follow you. God, I pray that we would accept the challenge to spend some time with you and to invite you into our lives, into our mistakes and into our failures and into our emotional stress and our emotional mess ups. That you would be able to take that as we trust you and bring out the best qualities within us. Because that's ultimately the way that you designed it. God, I pray that we would trust you during this time. God, I thank you for everything that you do and all that you are. Amen. Anybody want some coffee? There's just some grounds in it. It's okay. You can have this is probably like a half-boiled egg at this point. And or you can have a boiled carrot. I might actually eat the carrot later. Who knows? I might even drink the coffee. Man, my desk is really hot right there. Thank you, Angel. I'm glad you liked the demonstration. Sometimes they're difficult. I feel like I'm not that great at them sometimes. This one actually I feel like went pretty well. Thank you, Taylor. All right. We are winding down, and this is going to be the end of it. Thank you guys for stopping in and for saying hi, for watching the video. And if you guys missed anything, feel free to go back. It'll be up on YouTube. You can go back, you can rewind, you can look at it again. But that verse for you guys again, I'll put it in the comments. Caleb Sturm tried calling me. I'm back. Sorry, Caleb. I will be back with you in a minute. That verse is Colossians chapter 1, verses 13 and 14. And for me, I look at that verse and I say, I need a hero. And that's funny. Thought it was a carrot fish. It's not a carrot fish. Yes, you can also play the video on Facebook if you want to. I'm going to put this verse in the comments of both of them for you guys. And so, hope you guys have a great week. Expect another video to come out probably on Monday or Tuesday, and another one throughout the week to give you guys a challenge and to give you guys something, because I also may want you to connect with God. And I want him to be first in your life with everything. So, until next time, spend some time with God. That's the challenge. And to invite him in your life to bring out the best in you through the circumstances that you don't expect. So, I'll see you next time.